cathedral here at St Andrew's Church, and we've what have we just read today? You read a long passage. In fact, you've been reading long passages all week. You had a very long one on Monday when you did it.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's interesting how they are so different.
Yeah.
So here we have Jacob. Before he dies, he blesses all his sons.
Genesis 4. It's incredible list. It's not all very positive, is it?
Yeah, so
it's
they
like
are really different.
It's like Simeon and Levi. It's like, what tribe is that? I guess we need to have Malcolm, our priest, because there's probably a lot of insight here. I guess you unpack each of these brothers, and there's a lot of stuff.
But I remember actually, because I thought when I was reading it before reading it today, I thought, well, this sounds familiar, and then I realized that last year, it was about a year, when you and Malcolm were doing this and reading from Deuteronomy,
right?
So another book, there was a similar passage, not exactly the same, but also similar, listing those 10, not 12, but so that there were 2 missing, but 10 tribes of Israel, 10 sons of Jacob. Yeah, but this was Moses repeating something similar, also mentioning all these tribes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm all intrigued. I was going to look that up.
At the end of Deuteronomy. Yeah.
But it's interesting because you've got like Simeon and Levi are brothers. Weapons of violence are their swords. May I never come into their council. May I not be joined to their company. Why? It's like, whoa, what tribe is that?
Yeah.
And at the end, it's a very interesting phrase. It says, I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. It's like, interesting.
Yeah, that is. And also Judah, I think, stands out. But Judah, as far as I know, so King David and then also Jesus, they are descendants of Judah. So they come from the house of Judah. So, and I thought that it's interesting how this blessing for Judah is also longer than many others.
Right. That's interesting.
And I thought it's interesting that they mentioned the colts, donkeys, colts, and then it made me also think of Jesus when he enters Jerusalem.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, Palm Sunday. There's this in Mark. Yeah, that they refer to the colts.
Yeah, and it says the scepter shall not depart from Judah. So obviously the judgment, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet. So he's obviously set out to be the chief, the big one, the boss. And it's interesting, and he washes his garments in wine and his robes in the blood of grapes. That's fascinating.
So it might sound like a prophecy pointing to Jesus.
It's actually really interesting. And then I like the shipping one. I just think it's a very sort of it's just a very factual. He's the guy who takes care of shipping and travel and logistics.
Yeah, very peaceful blessing.
Yeah, exactly. It's the seaside brother, the holiday resort. Exactly.
And also obviously Joseph is also really long.
Yeah.
So he's the brother that was separated from the other 11. Yeah, so something we've been reading mostly over those weeks, about Joseph.
It's interesting, I like this interesting metaphor. He said, Joseph is a fruitful bough. His branches run over the wall. The archers fiercely attacked him. Yet his bow remained taut. So I thought that was really interesting. And his arms were made agile. What an interesting idea, this kind of fruit vine going across a wall and being attacked, but still his arms remain taut. I just thought it was an interesting and unusual thing. And Benjamin, I was quite interested in, is a ravenous wolf, in the morning devouring the prey and in the evening dividing the spoil. I thought it was interesting, because Benjamin was another favourite, wasn't he?
Yeah. So the 2 brothers by
by his is it Rachel? I always monologue. Yeah, Rachel is which is amazing. So that is amazing, an amazing passage. And then we had
Hebrews. Yeah, the letter to the Hebrews also speaking about the promise.
Right.
So, referring to God's promise to Abraham. And then also, this is something I'm not quite sure about, again, something we would need a professional, an informed comment on, about the second promise, because here it says this promise, this oath was repeated so that to make it more certain, so that we don't doubt it. So it's through two unchangeable things, in which it is impossible that God would prove false. So when I don't know when it was repeated, because I thought that the first one, this is the promise that God gave to Abraham, but the second one, I don't know. Is it
it is interesting. There was something actually. There's a comment in the book which I find I didn't quite fully understand, so I thought I wouldn't mention it until I had a little bit more time to think on it. But actually, I think it refers a little bit to this, because it sort of says, because God is truth, he doesn't need to prove himself, because it makes no sense. If you are the truth, why would you need to prove that which you are? And it's a sort of it was like a contradiction. And they, in the commentary, it said it's a bit like talking about the four corners of a circle. It just doesn't exist. So you don't need to prove God as truthful, because that is like trying to look for the corners in the circle. It's like, but God is the truth, right? He is the kind of the circle. And essentially, and he also talks about this thing about we have this hope, a sure and steadfast anchor of the soul, a hope that enters the inner shrine behind the curtain, where Jesus is a forerunner on our behalf. And essentially, he talks a bit behind the curtain. I was a bit confused by the comment about behind the curtain, because he talks about the Wizard of Oz, and when they opened, the Wizard of Oz was revealed as being just a guy with a microphone and not a wizard at all, something fake. We say that God is that. He is actually the kind of the ultimate truth. He's not something pretending to be something else. So that was kind of complex and a bit confusing, but interesting. Very interesting. In fact, I find Hebrews fascinating. I've never really discovered Hebrews, but there's a lot of very interesting stuff in Hebrews. Yeah, exactly.
But this thing, it just, I don't know if that's what it means or not, but this behind the curtain phrase reminded me of something we had on Sunday in one of the readings. I think that so there was a phrase that God's foolishness is wiser than people's wisdom, something like this.
Right.
So it means that we can't grasp it all. So
right. Yeah, exactly. I think there is something of that in the commentary in the book. It was saying that it is something we can't grasp. It is too big, and we try and understand it in earthly terms, but we can't really. Yeah.
And again, there are those beautiful metaphors and beautiful phrases about hope. Yeah.
Right.
We had it in Hebrews in last week also. About hope.
Good morning, World 13. Great to see you. Bye.
Yeah. So it's very beautiful.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. I think enough. Do you want to add anything else? No. Time to get on with the day. Great. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful Wednesday. And we'll be back next time. Nadia's here, which is probably in a week. Right. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for watching us, guys.